I know I broke the law that day. Why would I want a pardon? For what?
Pamela, thank you for being with us tonight. You were convicted and served time for your part in the January 6th insurrection. You've talked about believing what Donald Trump said when he said that he'd had the election in 2020 stolen from him. That took you to Washington. Today, this week, Donald Trump has pardoned those people who took part in that insurrection, and you are one of those, and you are saying that you're working to reject that pardon. We'll come on to all of that, Pamela. It's an incredible story that you have to tell. I wonder if we could start though with your early interest in politics. What got you interested in politics in the first place?
Well, actually, what had happened, I'm a retired alcohol and drug counselor. And my whole focus for I've been sober now 45 years, has been helping alcoholics and addicts get clean and sober. And when I retired, the MAGA girls, they're the ones out in the corner here in Boise, Idaho, were flying flags for Trump. They knew about me and they asked me if I would, because I was starting to go out and videotape because I was bored, different events, different Republican, when they're out there talking and things like that. They said, could you come videotape us and interview us? And I said, well, sure. Because now this was all free. I'm not a citizen journalist. I'd had a little experience as a TV host for the community as a volunteer. So they had heard about that. And so I had some skills of interviewing and videotaping. And so I started going out there and I would never have been involved in politics. I didn't want anything to do with politics per se. And that's how it got started.
So it was the MAGA girls, you say. So a group of MAGA campaigners.
Excuse me?
They are a group of Donald Trump campaigners, are they? The MAGA girls.
Well, the MAGA girls were throughout the United States and they had their own group in each state. So they represented the women for Trump. That's a separate organization, Women for Trump, but this one was called the MAGA Girls.
And so you went to film them, and so you spent time with them. I mean, that's the start of your journey. How did you sort of find them? How did you sort of find that experience of being with them?
Oh, well, that's when they started giving me information about Trump and telling me that the Democrats wanted to turn this nation into a communist nation. And that scared me. And of course, I didn't recognize the gaslighting going on, but they would tell you, don't listen to anything the Democrats are saying about Trump because they lie about everything. They've continued to try to steal elections, all this garbage, they put out there. And I just fell for it because these are people, it's not like I was talking to people that are homeless on the street. Some of them had 2 PhDs. And why would you ever suspect that Trump would be a cult leader and lying to everybody? It just doesn't come to you that way.
You said that you were doing some filming, and you had a YouTube channel, didn't you? That you were posting some of your videos to, and you said that sort of after retiring, you were bored.
Yeah. Well, what do you do when you've worked that many years? And I just wanted to, well, mainly I wanted to continue helping the drug addicts and alcoholics find recovery. And so that's why I did the TV shows, volunteered to host them to bring about awareness of addiction. Politics is just, but then after being done with all that, I thought, what do I do now? And so when I got the invitation, see, they learned about me on Facebook and they got a hold of me on Facebook and asked if I would be willing to come out and stand with them and videotape them and get information out for them.
When you sort of first heard of Donald Trump as a character, as a politician, what was your sort of initial feeling towards him?
Oh, well, in fact, I talked to one of my family members. I said, he said that the P word, and I said, no, this guy, something's wrong. So what people do, the mega, is they brush all that off and say, I know, it's just a men's locker room talk. They minimize it and make you think, well, besides all what he says and does, He's for us. He's for the country. He wants to stop them trying to, the deep state, which we know there's no deep state. Uh, and so you don't know, and you're not doing your own research. And a lot of people like me are very vulnerable. We're just listening to people. We're not really doing our own research. And you start to lose your critical thinking. You're just trusting who you're talking to. I mean, I was talking to the lieutenant governor who was friends with Ammon Bundy. Are you familiar with Ammon Bundy? He's a far right militia that got arrested by the FBI. He stood him up. He had a group of people there. He's very famous, very well known, but a very dangerous militia. But I didn't know that. And you're walking around with people that carry a Bible, talk about God. You don't know their races. They don't talk about that or share that much, but they are. You're just vulnerable. You're very naive. You're trusting everybody. Unfortunately.
And you say that you're vulnerable in that situation. Would you say that you were vulnerable?
Oh yeah, because I wasn't into any news or politics or reading those books and doing my own research, which I am now. I didn't know about the disinformation war that we was going on. That you got to check the journalists now, see how reliable they are, how credible they are. You got to check the check factors. you know, I didn't think about doing any of that. I just trusted people I was around at the time, and most of us do.
How did you get your news, your information at the time?
Um, Fox News, Gateway Pundit. I'm trying to think right now. I try to blank those journalists out of my mind, but just mainly the far right news media and journalists always writing about what the Democrats were doing.
And did you
Believe it.
have did you have kind of voices challenging that? Did you come across voices or content or news that was sort of challenging your opinion?
Yeah, and in fact, I would go to the mega cult, is what I want to call them, because that's what it is, and ask them questions. But they gaslight you, and and they make you feel like, what's wrong with you questioning this? Like you don't have to question this. They are liars. They'll just put out whatever to make Trump look bad. And so I said, okay, I won't listen to them no more. Unfortunately,
And you am I right in thinking that you attended an event by Alex Jones, the notorious conspiracy theorist Alex Jones?
well, on January the 5th, I got there that night and he was talking. I got a little clip, but there was too many people. I couldn't listen to all the speakers that night. But they left all the speakers and walked down the street. They were trying to find Antifa and the Black Lives Matter, and they would have attacked them. But they had a bunch of Capitol police officers protecting that group that was there that night. But they wanted to find them and beat them up. That's the rhetoric they were talking. Let's get these Antifa.
So you had got on with the MAGA crowd and you'd been spending time with them and you came to support Donald Trump. And Donald Trump then starts to claim that the 2020 election was stolen. And that's a claim that you believed for that period.
Yeah, again, I would ask them, where's their evidence? Where do we read about it? And then you start hearing Giuliani and all the other people, all his flying monkeys that were lying. I know that now. So why question them? They're not going to go out there and lie like that. Trump's not lying. I mean, he's president. Presidents don't lie to the public that way. I mean, I'm sure everybody's capable of little lies, but not a big lie. And then when you ask him where there is any evidence, through courts or whatever, it doesn't matter, Pam. These are Democrat judges, and they would do anything to go after Trump. So all the propaganda we hear, which it is, and lies, is what I was listening to at the time.
So it's quite a big jump though, isn't it, to go from believing that to then traveling to Washington as you did. What compelled you to want to go to Washington that week?
Well, I had had a diagnosis breast cancer and I had surgery. And I had about 2 weeks before my chemotherapy was going to start. So my family member called me up and said, how would you like to go there and videotape Trump? Because that's all you do is go to events and do that. And this might be the last time to see him. I said, oh, that would be great. It'd be wonderful. And watching all his rallies, to me, it was just going to be another rally. Be safe. Um, so I was excited. But even then, I had my doubts about the election being stolen, but I kept waiting, like the proof is going to come out, right? We're going to find out that it was stolen. But God, when you look back at your thinking, it's pretty depressing how I fell into this when I talk about it.
And when you think, so okay, so you wanted to go to Washington because you felt like you were going to be part of another protest.
Yeah, we're saving our nation against the Democrats that want to turn it into a communist nation. I mean, I mean, it sounds crazy, but that's what was going on. And the lockdowns, people were angry, thinking that here the government's overreaching. You're hearing, see, what they do is they misinterpret the Constitution to people like me that aren't educated enough, are willing enough to do their own research. They're just listening to what they're sharing, and they know that. They know a lot of us are naive. We just go to work 9 to 5. We're not watching a lot of news. We're not involved in politics. But then when they come around you and they start giving you all this information, you don't question what they're sharing with you at the time, unless you're with somebody that's a Democrat that could say to you, "Look, you're getting false information. Let me give you some evidence." But that doesn't happen, and it's a continuing gaslighting. No, that's not what Trump said. No, don't believe them. Over and over again. So you get brainwashed. It's a cult.
So being there in Washington, we'll come in a moment to entering the Capitol building, but before that, being there in Washington, all of those people, thousands of people,
Mm.
that big rally by Donald Trump, how did all that feel?
Oh, it was overwhelming. I was used to Boise. I wasn't prepared for that many people. But I'd heard a congressman, I made a comment on Facebook, which got me in trouble. Um, I'd heard a congressman said, if 300 people come out, I don't listen. But if 3,000 comes out, I'll listen to you. So on my Facebook page, I said, it's a war. We need millions to show up. But, I was talking political war, not war, like bring your guns. And then I had a plastic gun on New Year's Eve. They know I'm against open carry. I had a reputation that I don't like guns, not in the public. And so they said it'd be cute. Take this picture of holding this gun. It was a toy gun, and that got viral. So I want people to know that was. And then I asked them to take that down because that's not me. But the things I said made me look really bad. I was by that time I was mega. My mind was, you guys are lying and you're trying to take our country. You got all that propaganda going on in your head, what they were sharing with you, and you're not questioning them.
And did you make friends? People, people that you sort of started to build a community with?
Yeah, you feel like a part of a family. Yeah, that's what cults do. That's what they do to keep you engaged.
And how do at the time, those relationships, how much do they matter to you?
At the time, and you're welcome, and they're happy that you're videotaping for them and sharing their message for them. And of course, I was all a volunteer. I wasn't paid, or I didn't take any donations. But yeah, you're all in the same mind thoughts that Trump is trying to save this nation. There's a deep state coming after us. So, and you're naive and you're just gullible and believe in everything. Look, I was talking to the lieutenant governor here. Uh, People with 2 PhDs, they're not lying. Trump's not lying. No president would lie, right? You just doesn't come to you. I'm 71. I come from a different generation. presidents don't go out and lie about elections being stolen. Now we know they do. He did.
Hmm. So you're there in Washington, surrounded by people that you've kind of come to know. You describe them as family, and things start to shift and change, and people start to march onto the Capitol building and into the Capitol building. Can you, Pamela, just talk me through how that was for you, how that went for you?
Well, what happened when he was speaking, I couldn't get through the crowd because I had surgery, I had stitches, and I didn't know what to do. And I walked around and asked, what's happening next? And they said, Trump's going to the Capitol. And I thought, oh, wonderful. I'll get there before the crowd. And I was wondering, why is he wanting us to go to the Capitol? He's just talking. But I was confused. Who knows what's going on? And maybe he's going to be talking to the Congress. You don't know. I didn't even know the transfer of power was happening. That's how naive I am and uneducated about government. So I started walking and I turned around and I saw a group of men and I went up to them. I said, are you the Proud Boys? They said, yes. And I said, are we going inside the Capitol? Now, my thinking is the Proud Boys are not going to do anything illegal. They're with Trump. They're going to be second security. And they said, no, ma'am, we're not going inside the Capitol. I thought, oh, no, because I wanted to be there, to videotape them with Trump. But anyway, that was just my naive thinking. So I followed them and I don't know what side, if it's the east side or the west side, but where media shows all the violence, not to minimize my side, but it's the one that's out there a lot. Well, we go to the other side and I got up front and I turned around and I don't know where the Proud Boys went. So now I know they went around to the other side and I didn't even know there was another side. And that's when William Dunphy had told me that he was talking to an officer that they were negotiating. They were going to move the barriers and let us up on the steps. Well, that wasn't true. He was just trying to rile up the group to believe that they were going to let us up to the steps. And that's when they started pushing the barriers and the officers were just standing there. They weren't doing any pepper spray or nothing. They were just standing there. So the crowd started the riot.
And so you then went and entered the building. You followed those people through into the building, into the rotunda. No.
No, no, it's kind of a long story. First time because I believed that they were letting us in, you know how you're at a football game and everybody tries to get in? You're allowed to get in, but they try to do it too quick. So I thought that's what was happening. I got confused. So the officer pulls me over and I'm thinking, oh, he's letting me in first. And I go walking around. This is what got me in trouble. And I said, come on in, it's your house. They're letting us in. And I got in trouble. So I walked over to the female officer and I said, what's going on? Why aren't they coming in? She said, they're not letting them in. I said, oh my God. My heart went to my feet. I thought, oh my God, hope nobody listens to me. And they put me back in the same spot. And within minutes, they did it again. And this time they broke through. The same officer, though, pulled me over. I ran to the captain. He said, go to the steps. Have them put you behind them. Because I was scared. I had stitches. It was like a buffalo coming at you, all this crowd and these crazy people. So I get there and they pushed me down and they stepped on my head, pulled out my shoulder, broke my glasses, cut my knee. I was not breathing. Could have been killed. So they put me behind them and then I sat at the steps and then they pushed themselves up again towards the door and they started some more violence. They got flagpoles and started beating the door and pepper spraying the officers. And so I went to the captain. I said, what can we do? Call the National Guard. And he says, I'm trying to get through. I can't get through. It was horrifying. Then I saw people coming in and out. And I thought, oh, they're letting them in now. What else? Why else are they going in and out like that? So I thought, that doesn't matter. I have my camera. I'm get the officers to tell me, yes, you're allowed to come in, but not thinking, not experienced being around a crowd. They pushed everybody. They were pushing people in. So I got shoved in. I sat down. I saw that they're trying to get everybody out. And I told the officer, I cannot get in that crowd. They already tried to kill me. So he helped me get out. They took me another way. And then I walked around and I saw Jacob Chansley and I videotaped him.
He's the um
Starman,
shaman, yeah.
the Buffalo Man.
Yeah. One of the most famous images of the day.
Oh God.
Was it was it exciting?
No, no, not when it started, not when I realized they pushed the officers. No, I was frightened, but because I've been doing nothing but videotaping for the last 2 years, I wanted to stay in videotape. It doesn't come to you that you're trespassing. Not at all. You know how you think, oh, I better not do that. It could be against, nothing comes to your mind. I'm explaining, I'm not justifying that I shouldn't have been arrested. I want you to know that. It's just the thinking is not there. And plus, I had my head stepped on, so my brain probably was been shook up. I mean, I wasn't well.
So
My
you didn't you didn't sort of realize, you say, that you really that or process that you were taking part in an insurrection.
yeah, it doesn't come to you at the time. It's too much happening too fast. Saw a man, somebody broke a window and he was pulling a book out. So I got that on video and I told him, you put that book back. Are you crazy? We don't destroy the Capitol. And yeah, everything's just happening and you want to capture it on a video, what's going on. You know, I don't want to be a part of it, but it was, to this day, it's PTSD. You know, it's horrified. You know how you look back and you wish you had left. But I didn't. That's why I'm not a victim. I am a volunteer. I could have left and I didn't.
When did you come to realize the magnitude of what you'd done?
That night, I had a relationship with the Capitol Police here in Boise, Idaho. I called him and I said, I heard they're arresting people. You know me. He knew me very well. We had a good relationship because at my events, I would let them know if there was anybody that might cause violence. We had a communication going on, not like an informant or anything like that, but because I was out there at all these events, I let them know so they could stop anybody that might do something wrong. So I called him and I said, Michael, I don't know what to do. I'm hearing they're arresting people. And I told him what I did and everything. He says, hold on, I'll check the FBI list. If you're wanted, I'll tell you what to do next. But he said, no, right now you're not even on a list. So the next morning, I got back on the plane and went home. I was scared. I was
And
really scared.
and eventually
And
you were arrested.
yeah, I think I'm only guessing because they know me so well in Boise, Idaho. I mean, the police knew me by name because of all the events I'd been and being hanging out with Evan Bundy. I think because I was doing chemotherapy that they waited. Because the day they arrested me was I had moved into radiation. And I told them I have appointment at 1. They said, we know, and you'll be out before your appointment. And people need to know the FBI treated me very well. They said that the FBI took this grandma and drug her down the stairs. That's not true. They were really good to me. They treated me very well. They were very professional, very kind.
By that point, did you still believe in Donald Trump at that point?
I wasn't thinking about Donald Trump and believing in him per se. I was just still, you're in shock for a while about the whole thing. Scared. Did I do something wrong? Am I going to prison? I didn't mean to break the law. And I didn't, but you did. You did. The building was closed that day. I didn't know that till later, but that building had been shut down for the public, period. But yeah, there's a lot running through your head and you're scared. God, I'd never been, no criminal record. I didn't know what jail would be like. So I was in a lot of fear.
How did it feel then when you did get arrested and charged and going through that process?
Kind of a relief, like, okay, because I never knew what was going to happen to me. I'm waiting to be arrested or not arrested. And I even saw an attorney and he took my videos. I think he copied them. Can't prove it. But the next day, he tells me he's an ex-FBI agent and he has my videos in another building. It was really weird. my prosecutor and my attorney tried to find him and they couldn't find him. It was really weird. I don't know what happened there. That's another story, but um, so they arrested me and they let me out at 1, arrested me 6 in the morning. I was out by 1, I think. And then they assigned me attorney.
And you went through the process and you were found guilty and you went to spend some time in prison. How was that?
Oh, it was horrifying. I just got the news. The lady that saved me, Michelle, uh, Michelle West, the phone's ringing again. I'm sorry. She's had a life sentence there, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here today. She saved my life in prison. She's a beautiful black Muslim lady. And she told me, you focus on God, not these women, because they were planning to put drugs in my room and I would get a 4-year charge or kill me because they were like 95% cartel women and they hated Trump. And so I'm very fortunate that Michelle West, you can look up her story. It's amazing, this lady. She just got pardoned by Biden. So I'm so excited because when I'm leaving prison, she took off, Muslims wear their scarf. She had no other scarf, but she took it off because I had cancer. I had no hair. She says, you're leaving here in dignity, and gave me her scarf. I owe that lady so much.
Wow. And so during your time in prison, she helped you and shepherded you through.
She had some clout there, and she would come over and say, don't turn that channel. That's Miss Hemphill's channel. They listened to her. She had some clout. But she was, of course, she didn't like Trump, of course, but she just said, promise me that when you get out that you'll do the right thing because you know that Trump is a dangerous man. And I didn't get it at the time, but now I see what she was talking about. That he was a dangerous narcissist. I didn't know that. She could see that. But yeah.
So was it this relationship and around this time that things started to change for you and you started to change your mind?
No, what happened when I got on X, which was called Twitter, and I started the first J6 defendant space, and all the J6ers and family members and Republicans would come in my space, 300 people. And I thought the objective was to stand up for anything illegal that the government had done that day to us. Come to find out, they're standing up for those that had harmed Capitol police officers. And then what happened? I found out that Ryan Samsel, he's the one that Epps whispered in his ear. He was the first to breach the Capitol, knock down a female officer, had told Gateway Pundit that he lost his whole eye in jail. His gifts didn't go went up to $40,000 with that story. So I knew a lot of people and I contacted his girlfriend and his lawyer, and they said, no, he had not lost his whole eye. He had called the inmates the N word. So that did it. I said, they're lying. What else are they lying about? What else? And they were supporting Ryan saying, oh, whoever told you that, they're lying to you, Pam. There they are again. Whenever you confront them with facts, they deny it. And so they started a smear campaign, wouldn't let me come back in. They didn't want to hear anything I was trying to share facts, not against them, just so that I want to know the truth. Don't they want to know the truth? No, they don't. Because it changes their narrative. It makes them not look like a victim. I get it now. So I started the first J6 gaslighting space, and the sedition hunters and some real researchers and the Democrats came in and helped me, brought receipts. At first, both spaces sound identical, but the difference with the Democrats, they would actually bring receipts, facts, proof, and I mean evidence. Not when you're with MAGA. They just put out stuff, but they don't back it with any evidence. Not at all. You want to know, where'd you hear this? Who reported that? Don't worry about it.
So
Just keep their narrative going.
so you spotted a lie, a provable lie, something that
Yeah,
planted a seed of doubt in your mind and began your journey away.
yeah. That was back about a year and a half ago.
And
And
am I
I've been
right?
speaking out ever since.
And am I right in thinking that your family got involved as well, didn't they?
No, no, no. My family, I'd like to keep them out of it. We have agreed not to talk about politics, but no, not really. No, they weren't involved.
Did they? And obviously, we won't talk about this at length, clearly. But did they believe the same thing as you, or was there a
Oh yeah,
friction?
oh yeah. MAGA. They're Republicans supporting Trump,
Right.
and they're educated.
And they still support Trump and still believe,
Yeah, it's. I'm trying to keep them out of this, if you don't mind.
of course. Um, what reaction have you had from those people who you were once allies with to you speaking out?
It's horrible. They, uh, the Idaho Liberty Dogs are here, and I knew her personally. She started the Idaho Liberty Dogs, far right extremists. They're the ones that open carry with ARs in this town. She started the Idaho Liberty Dogs, and when they were having the Black Lives Matter protest here, I always thought everybody had a right to speak out, and I'd just be there though to videotape them. Well, she'd called me because we had been assigned police officers. If any problems were looking like might happen, I agreed to report to them. I didn't have to, but I would because we want to keep protests safe, right? Well, she had called me and said she's bringing smoke bombs. I said, "You tell me you're just joking." She said, "No, no, we're going to bring smoke bombs." I said, "No, you're not. No, you're not." So I'm going to call and tell on you. I am, unless you tell me, take that back, that you're just joking. Well, she hung up on me. So they hate me. They hate me to, oh, they'd like to get me. I have to be careful here now, really careful.
Do you feel unsafe?
Oh, yeah. Oh, big time. I was with Ammon Bundy and all the far militias. They know me and I'm known here very well. Yeah. I should get a blonde wig. So, oh yeah. But I'm not afraid of them. I don't like bullies. Um, I guess I don't think anybody would go as far as killing me. They would probably like to just yell at me and scream at me and throw some eggs at me. But I have to be, what do they say? Be cautious, don't be paranoid. But my biggest enemies are here right now in my town. And there's 5 of them that know me personally from the events that were released. J6 criminals are right here.
So they've been released this week as part of Donald Trump's pardons.
Yeah. And my address is out there. I
And
was
so,
told that by a journalist.
and so that's a concern for you that they may target you.
Oh, yeah, they already have. There was a threat of a SWAT. I had to call the Boise police here and let them know that this is possible. They've called in every journalist they possibly can to say I'm a liar and smear me. Um, there was one death threat that I kept a copy of. Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, if you were looking at the smear, you would go, "Whoa, that's pretty bad, man." Oh, can I wrap up in 5 minutes? I have
Of
another.
course, yeah, yeah. How do you feel about Donald Trump pardoning the January 6th?
Oh, I'm disgusted. You know, what this is his message that he's been throwing out there that the DOJ has been weaponized against him. They're coming after me, but they're really coming after you, which is the J6 defendants, right? And anybody that goes up against the DOJ. Well, if he hadn't pardoned them, the message would be that the DOJ is not totally weaponized against his followers, right? So he couldn't do that. This is about Trump. It's not about the J6 defendants. He could care less about them. He don't care about nobody. He uses people. So he's using the J6 defendants. Oh, excuse me. I got to say criminals to keep the message going, the narrative. And we already know that Jack Smith said in his report that he would be in prison if he went through the whole court system, if he was on trial, that he is a criminal. And what else would a criminal do but back all the other criminals?
And you're working to reject the pardon. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And the reason I told you, it's just going to contribute to their narrative. See, I'm innocent. Pam's taken the pardon. She knows she didn't do anything wrong that day. She won't admit it. That's what they're going to say. No, I did something wrong that day. I broke the law. And taking the pardon is kind of symbolic. And it really doesn't have to do with the media or what anybody's saying. Or this is between me and God. I know I broke the law that day. Why would I want a pardon? For what? I was wrong. Pay the price. And it would be a slap in the face to my judge. I had a good judge. I should have got more time. I'm grateful I only got 2 months for what I did that day. It's a shameful day, and I regret it to the day I die that I was even ever there, part of this garbage. What are all their lies?
And actually, one final question. You've referenced a lot, and it was sort of the thing that got you into the MAGA movement in the first place, and something you've kind of continued to do, which is videotaping. You talk a lot about going out and filming things and presumably posting it to your YouTube channel. Why do you do that?
I want to be the eyes for people that can't be there. It's enjoyable talking to people. I did the last one, the march, the women's march, but I don't really want to do that anymore because it's just not safe, especially now for me. So I won't be able to do that. I won't be doing that. I mean, I might have my video ready if I see something that's important, but yeah, at the time it was just trying to get your voice out there the best I could.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I wonder if one of the things that I've been thinking as you've been talking about it, Pamela, is I wonder if that kind of gives you a bit of a sense of purpose, that you're
Yeah,
contributing.
yeah, yeah. It helps make you feel like you're contributing for the good. Well, now I know I wasn't contributing to the good when I was in MAGA, that's for sure. Um, yeah, it makes you feel like yeah, because I would work like 50 hours a week. I was invested in helping addicts and alcoholics. And that empty space, it's like, now what do you do with it? And so I found something. But now at least I found the right side to do it for the right side, for the good.
Pamela, thank you so much for being so generous with your time. I really appreciate it. It's been really, really wonderful to talk to you. Thank you so much.